Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and today, big news, we have information on the next fusion, which is coming out. I've torn myself away from Pokemon Scarlet, which actually got delivered today, one day early for me. So me and Quaxley are terrorizing the Paldean countryside. But let me show you this, guys. Here we go. Whabam! Hoskarul is going to be the next fusion. He is an epic champion. It is an epic fusion as predicted from the Barbarian faction defense based, and he is going to be coming out on Thursday, November the 24th. Funny enough, YST actually messaged me and he was like, dude, this is exactly the date that we predicted. This is actually the exact date last year. November 24th is when they did the Vildrax fusion. So they've done it again, and I think the reason for this is very clear. It's just to get the dates to line up. So again, last year, to reiterate, guys, last year the 24th of November was Vildrax, who was an epic. Then on the 16th of December, right, they had Tatora Rhymehide as the Christmas fusion. I would expect something very similar again this year. I believe that is why we're doing an epic fusion on the 24th of November. I expect then mid-December, somewhere in the lines of like I don't know, let me actually see. It's probably somewhere within that whole week. So yeah, I'd say anywhere from like the 12th to the 18th, so somewhere in that week, I would say December is when, if I was Plarium, I'd be doing a legendary fusion for Christmas. Anyway, let's dive into that. So new champion, here we go. Hoskarul is the champion who can greatly help mid-game players complete Barbarian faction crypt and succeed with waves in such PvE content as Doom Tower. I often see a lot of raid players they experience a significant level of distress, and you know, your heart goes out to them when the game comes out with champions like fusions that are designed for mid-game players. They get very upset if they're past being mid-game themselves. Guys, it makes total sense for Plarium to do fusions for mid-game players. Like, those are the sorts of players. Mid-game is the exact place where fusions should be targeted. In fact, it's part of the reason why I say they've typically been making fusions, I think, a bit too intensive recently. I don't think that's what they should be about, which is kind of a bummer. But anyway, this is what he's aimed for. And his skill set's all about stun. We'll actually just dive in, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, let's dive into his actual skills. That's basically what he's supposed to be doing. Here he is. Let's see what he can do. We can see all the info on his books. Does not need many books, which is also quite nice. Hermit Cudgel A1, 30 bucks to a 40% chance to place stun for one turn. Solid enough. Sustained Beating is A2, 4 turn bucks to a 3 turn cooldown AoE attack with a 50 bucks to a 75% chance of placing stun for one turn. Decrease the turn meters of all enemies under stun by 15%. I think this is incredibly good, actually. He reminds me a lot of Archbishop Helmet. We know how good Archbishop is. So Archbishop AoE actually is also a 75% chance to stun, and then also decreases the turn meters of enemies without stun by 20%. So very similar. You guys know how good Archmage is. Unfazed then is A3, 6 turn bucks to a 4 turn cooldown, removes all stun debuffs from all allies, places 60% increased defense and a 25% increased resistance buff on all allies for 2 turns. That definitely seems more situational. I'm not sure of too many times where you're going to be stunned. That's not arena. But either way, increased defense buff for your team is a decent thing to bring. 25 increased resistance. This is very rare. Now, it is the small version. The bigger version is 50%, which is, I think it's significantly better. Like Rafmatab has the 50% boost. So the problem with the increased resistance, champs, is you need to bring in, for it to be consistent, wrong one. For increased resistance to be consistent, they're all so far on 4 turn cooldowns with a 2 turn buff. So you kind of need 2 buff extenders to have complete increased resistance coverage, which is quite difficult. I've seen a couple of people do Hydra teams with Rafmatab, or what's the other one? Beauregard, I think it might be, with the increased resistance, a couple of buff extenders. Rafmatab I've seen more commonly, and it can work, right? It can, but it's just you need to build a lot around it. So I think that's somewhat useful. It's certainly quite fun because it's still so rare in the game. So it's kind of cool to get that in, even though it's fairly minor. Finish the foe. His passive, immune to stun, increases the damage inflicted by all allies by 15% when attacking enemies under stun. And then he has an ally defense, faction crips 30%. This is a really good epic. I think he's a very, very good epic. Certainly, the Barbarian faction crypt, I will say, is extremely easy. It's very easy. I do think he's good there, though. You pop him in with a War Maiden, with Seal of the Drakes. You're just going to rip through, right? That defense aura is good. He's going to synergize well with Syl between her AoE stun, his AoE stun, that damage bonus. You're just going to rip through that faction crypt very easily. It's already easy. He's going to make it, mid-game players get there faster and just be able to farm it at a higher level more easily. And I think that's quite valuable. I do think that's pretty decent, like being able to farm stage 21, get the most possible resources for perception gear. That will add up over, the next 6 months or so of playing. If you're about 6 months in, that can actually add up to a decent difference. So it's not too bad. And I think outside of that, he does look like a great epic champion for, Doom Tower progression, Doom Tower normal, and particularly Doom Tower hard. Archmage Helmet does a lot of the same stuff. He's key, I think, for a free-to-play player for getting through Doom Tower hard, where I've got a whole video on this, but you're going to stack, easily accessible champions like Syl of the Drakes, Vizix when you get her, Archmage Helmet, this guy if you do him, Drexthar from the Tag Arena shop. Those champions, it's about stacking them together, chaining all of your crowd control and not letting the enemies ever take a turn. That's what gets you through 99% of Doom Tower waves. Not quickly, but successfully, even all the way up to the very top of Doom Tower hard. Sifi waves are the only sort of problem there, but yeah, I think this guy's really solid. Look, AoE 75% stun on a 3-turn cooldown is a great move. Very solid. Yeah, I think this guy looks to be a good champion. We'll see how hard he hits. Might be worth building him with some damage. You're going to build him with good accuracy. Aiming for 350 for the top of Doom Tower hard would be ideal. 220 is obviously fine for dungeons and faction wars. But I think he's good. He's going to up your damage, which is nice. Yeah, a bit of Terminator Deplete, increased defense, increased resistance, going to be helpful for Doom Tower hard as well. Get you through the Torment waves with the freezes, increased defense just to take some hits. Combos so well with Vizix and Syl of the Drakes. I think this guy looks to me to be like a free-to-play MVP. Let me know what you think. It is going to be epic. Did they say fragment? Yeah, it's going to be a fragment event. So this is a fragment. You just have to collect the fragments, 100 fragments, and fuse him up. I will say that Vildrax last year was pretty challenging, I thought. Like, even though it was an epic fragment, it wasn't all that much easier than the legendary fragments. Like, a little bit, but not hugely. So yeah, my expectation, by the way, really bear this in mind if you're considering going for the guaranteed Staltis on this weekend, yeah, is that this guy starts on the 24th. 25th, 26th, 27th should be expected to be champion chase for ancient shards. So if you spend all of your ancient shards going for Staltis, you're not going to have any for this weekend. That being said, I think Staltis as like an AoE stun champion is better than this guy. So for Doom Tower hard and just generally arena, everything, Staltis is going to be like him, like this guy, but much, much better. But yeah, so there you go. Hoskarul, let me know what you guys think. Are you going to go for him? I think I'll almost definitely... Yeah, I'm definitely going for him. No question really for me. Definitely going to go for this guy. He looks really cool too. I like him. He's probably going to speed up the faction war runs maybe a little bit. We'll see. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.